Good evening. Tonight we are meeting as part of a public hearing on the proposed 2019 budget. For those of you who might be viewing this at home, we apologize for the brief delay. We had a computer problem and the clerk was unable to take any minutes. So sorry, and please bear with us. So what we'll do is we will go through I should say I'll start at any rate, and go through the 2019 budget worksheet as prepared by the town board. And so that we do not prevent anybody from watching reruns of the Packer game from yesterday, I will strictly focus on the things that are of significant changes, plus or minuses, to the budget. And if somebody's got a question, feel free to raise your hand and we'll try and answer it for you. So I think everybody here has a copy of the worksheets. And so I'm going to start down by the clerk treasurer under general government for expenditures. And if you look there, you'll see we have given the town clerk treasurer a raise from her current $50,500 salary to $50,015. Other items inside that category remain unchanged, basically, from a salary perspective. Underneath the attorney and general, we are increasing the budget from 2018, which was $6,500 to $12,000. There have been some things that require additional legal assistance, so we have made that adjustment in our budget. We have also, under the ordinance enforcement / legal, we have added an additional $10,000 to the existing fund that we had carried over from last year, bringing that fund to $25,000. And that will be used, well, it could be used for a variety of things, but one of the key things that we're looking to do is to try and build up a war chest to do something eventually with the Muscat property, which is across from the Mill Supper Club. So we are starting to put aside some money to be able to deal with that dilapidated, those dilapidated structures. There's an increase in dues, membership, and education category from $2,000 to $3,000, and that represents membership for the clerk, training, and also membership in the Urban Towns Association, which is in addition to what we'd had in the past. Urban Towns is the lobbying arm of the Wisconsin Towns Association, and they're the ones that really carry the message to the legislature on our behalf. So we felt it was worthwhile to make that investment. Under poll workers, line 15, if you're following along, that's a decrease. As for this next year, at least as it stands now, we only have 2 elections, so that went from $7,500 to $3,000. Under internet and website, you see an increase from $1,500 to $3,000. It's our intention to upgrade our website and to go with a different vendor. The advice that we've been given is that the vendor that we've been using is using a website package that is probably hackable. And so we want to reduce the probability of that happening. And we'd also like some upgraded features on our website. So there's some investment made there as well. Most of the other categories remain unchanged until you go down to the assessor and reval. We are not doing a revaluation next year, but we continue to put aside money each year to eventually pay for that reval, as that runs generally around $125,000 or more. We have accumulated approximately $100,000 in that category. So we continue to make that change. Item 25, office equipment. Budget was $9,000. We went over budget last year through the acquisition of office automation equipment, PCs, as well as hiring an outside consultant to support open records requests. At any rate, so at the end of the year, we do not anticipate for next year to have any of those expenses, so it's a decrease down to $1,500. All right, going to the next page. Under Town Hall grounds, we went from a $3,000 budget to $9,000. Part of this, you might recall from an earlier meeting, is to do with a $4,000+ expenditure to put an additional light pole out at the front entrance to the building. There have been numerous complaints, especially during either nighttime meetings or more importantly during voting in the evenings, that it's been difficult to find where to access the town parking lot. So most of that increase is a result of that expenditure. The remaining categories remain pretty much unchanged until you go down to town park employees, or excuse me, town park grounds. And there we had budgeted 18.5 last year. We're doing 18.5 again this year, even though we didn't spend it all. We're going through a renovation of the parking lot, which is starting to crack up and break up just like many of our roads. So part of that expense is for that. And you know what? I am completely wrong on that. This is the employee piece. Sorry. Thank you for catching that, Dan. So this is the employee piece. The other piece will come up in a couple minutes.
I thought you meant maybe the employee was going to do
the employee is
seal
going to
coating
do the seal
themselves.
coating. Yeah, my apologies. Yeah, this is the employee's salary that work for us at the park. The other monies are further down in the list. Not much else changes in that page until we get down to item 44, which is the plan commission expense. And what you see there is an increase, a significant increase, because this is the year that we are doing the comprehensive plan update. And inside of that are dues that we will pay to the Bay Lake Regional Planning Commission, which is updating the comprehensive plan for us, as well as having funds available for future mailings and meetings. So there's where the increase occurs in that category. All right. Fire protection on the next page remains basically unchanged year over year. We have another year on our contract with the Sturgeon Bay Fire Department. First responders items are pretty much identical to the prior year. As we go down into public works and we talk about road maintenance and mowing, there's a little increase there from 11 to 15,000. We used to be able to do what we call two cuts, or fence line to fence line, but as everything else has gone up, we spent almost that amount of money last year for a single cut along the roadways. So we've increased that budget item. The biggest change to our budget this year represents road construction. Our prior years, we have stuck around the $200,000 figure for road construction. Next year, our plan is to increase it to $275,000, or I should say increase it $75,000 to a total of $275,000 in an attempt to try and catch up with some of the roads that are in disrepair. And we'll try and make those investments year after year as we go forward to try and maintain our roads. The next category where there would be an increase is snow removal. If you'll notice, we budgeted $100,000 in 2018. Through the date of this, which was October, we spent $98,000. I can assure you we've spent the remaining $2,000 already based on little snowfall and salting operations. Each year, our snow removal costs continue to escalate. I think the first year that I was on the board, they were $45,000. So in anticipation of a never-ending amount of snow, we have increased that budget by $10,000. We've also increased the tree trimming, and this is due more than anything else to the world-famous ash tree and the die-offs. They continue to populate in areas and die off in areas where we have to take them down on the roads right away. So we've increased that budget a slight amount. Otherwise, the majority of items below that remain pretty much unchanged. If you flip the page to page 3, line item 75, Clark Lake Beach Ramp, we have increased the budget there from $2,500 to $4,000, and this is to pay a share of the cost of dredging the ramp out. There's been an issue with the residents of Clark Lake and people using the boat launch at Town Line Road, in that the lake bottom actually rises up from the launching site. And so in order to level that off, there's a partnership between the Clark Lake Association, Jacksonport, and Sevastopol to dredge that out so that boats can get in and out without creating problems. So that's the reason for that increase. We've reduced the budget on the town Park repair and maintenance, line item 80, from 3,500 to 2,500 this year. We already took a fairly big hit last year on the repair of a tractor, and so we're anticipating less expenditures in that category. Here's the item that I mistakenly mentioned earlier as employee costs, and that's town park grounds. We're taking that up to $8,000, and that represents repair work to the parking lot. Also, we've had the good fortune to have an infestation of grubs, which is what tears up your lawn by skunk activity, etc. So we've had to invest in doing grub control and also in using spring green and others. So that category is also increased. Again, everything else pretty much down to line 92 are the same. There is an item, line 92, which is Door County Legislative Days. You'll see there's $1,000. Every few years, they come to us and ask for our support and also our attendance at Door County Legislative Days. And this is an effort between Door and Kewaunee County, where they physically get a couple bus loads of people from our county and go down and talk directly face-to-face with the legislature about items that face or that are unique to Door County and need their attention and focus. It's a minimal investment, but it's money well spent based on what's happened in the past. Okay, under capital outlay, mentioned this last year. We've tried to put a capital plan in place so that we can build funds to replace things that over time are going to need replacement. And in the case of the capital outlay for park and recreation, we're putting aside $9,000, and this is a combination of funds that will go towards replacing our lawnmower, which is a 6-foot wide landscape lawnmower that we paid $13,000 or $14,000 for in 2005. So I'm sure the new cost would be significantly greater, and also eventually to replace our truck, which is a 1995?
85? 85?
85 or 87, yeah.
It's brand new, 85 or 87.
Purchased used.
Purchase used, yeah. So we've started to accumulate funds towards that. Under capital equipment communications, there's $2,000 contribution in there. Our goal eventually is to try and provide the townspeople with a whiteboard, which would be like an electronic bulletin board, where you could sit here at the meeting and you could see what we're talking about projected up on a screen interfaced with the tablets or the PCs that we use. So that's a longer term project, but there's $2,000 in there. Flipping the page to Capital Town Hall and Grounds, we've increased that. We're trying to put aside some money. The building is 10 years old next year. So we're trying to make sure we have the necessary money to keep it in the state that it's in. And eventually things like roofs and other things will come to the forefront. So we're trying to put some money aside as part of our capital plan to have that. We did some of this last year and we were fortunate enough to have it. Unfortunately, though, we had to spend it when the well went out, and so we replaced, we took a good chunk of our capital and used it for that. So what we do have good water now, so that's, I guess, the nice benefit. So total expenditures, if you look at line item 103, from budgeted 2018, which was $1,029,000, will now be $1,165,000. That's an approximate increase in expenditures of 12%, although that does not relate to the tax rate. That just relates to expenditures. We still have another principal payment due on the town hall of $105,000, excuse me, which will be our last payment. Generally speaking, in all the revenue categories, these are items that we know we're going to be receiving. Most come from the state or fire, whatever. So there's very little change between those. If you looked at the line item totals, it'd be $282,000 versus $281. So virtually little or no change in terms of what type of revenues we gather. Same thing applies on the next page. We start off line item 128. Virtually no changes in any category. A slight decrease in room tax revenues anticipated. That's line item 143. There's an issue which has been discussed at prior town meetings. that with the advent of Airbnb and VRBO and others, there are some issues with how the tax dollars are collected from people who rent their homes on a short-term basis that could have a negative impact us greatly, impact us negatively in the future. So just an FYI. Okay, nothing much else on that particular page. Total revenues are subtotaled at 467 versus 470 from the prior year to the current. As you can see, is not a lot of change. And if you flip the page under tax levy receipts, the budget from last year was 613. This year it'll be 617. That delta of roughly right $4,000 is the maximum amount of levy that the state allows us to increase our budget by. This has been an ongoing thing for 10 years, 8, 10. So the only way, it's a little tough to manage within that number, but whatever.
Well, new construction, the only way you can increase your levy is through new construction, and we've been fortunate to have new homes and other
Have some
businesses
growth, right.
growing, right?
So we have levy for general obligation debt. This is the town hall, the last year of that. And so our total levy becomes $666,951. Our revenue and tax levy receipts is $1,136,000. And if you were to take a look at what does that all mean, from a mill rate of 2018 of 0.9283, the mill rate for this year will be 0.9333, or if you're down to counting mills, it's 0.005 mill increase. So it's virtually nil, although there is a slight increase. So that's everything from our perspective. If somebody has a question on something or whatever, I'll be happy to go back and revisit those or whatever item you like.
I think the driveway lighting is much needed. When I pulled in tonight, there was oncoming traffic, and it was impossible, really. I could not see where our driveway was. So I think that's a long time.
The question would be is whether we could get, well, I don't think we get it this year. But,
No.
but anyway.
I'm glad that we've budgeted for it, because I think it's warranted.
All right, no questions from the floor? If not, I will close the public hearing, and we will then go on to the notice of the special town meeting. Okay? All right. So I'm going to call to order the notice of the special town meeting for Monday, November 26th at 6:30 p.m. or immediately following the public hearing. That's why we're 5 minutes early. The agenda will be to call to order, and if you will please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Basically, the focus of the special town meeting is to approve what we just went through, the actual taxes. But before we do that, for the benefit of everyone here, we'd like to do introductions. We'll start with Amy.
Amy Flock, Clerk Treasurer, County Road P.
Tony Hain, Board Supervisor, Matthew Road.
Dan Wolfle, Town Chairman, Park Road.
Linda Waite, Supervisor, 5075 Bluff Court.
John Stavnis, Supervisor, Whitefish Bay Road. Steve Tipler, Bellamy Road.
John Daniel, Whitefish Bay Road.
Karen Brower, Gordon Road. Mary Ellen Payne, Matthew Road. Arlene Wolfle, Park Road.
Laddie Chapman, Glidden Drive.
Thank you. And Jim Nolan, our supervisor, is hopeful to join us. He was caught up in the snowstorm and is in an airport, or hopefully on a plane, and hopes to join us in the next, if things go right, half hour. If we don't see him, but at this point in time, that's where he's at. Okay, so basically what we'll do is we will approve the previous board meeting minutes from 2018, and that can be a motion from the floor or the board. Anyone like to approve those minutes?
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
Motion by Laddie, second by Tony to approve the minutes from the annual meeting, special town board meeting, excuse me, from 2018. 2017, thank you. I've got too many eights. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. All right, the next step will be the adoption of resolution number 06-218, town. The adopt the tax levy for 2018 to be collected in 2019. And here's the resolution itself. Whereas section 60.10(1)(a) of Wisconsin statutes authorizes the town electors of a town to adopt the tax levy at a town meeting of the electors. And whereas a special town meeting of the electors of the town of Sevastopol has been called this 26th day of November 2018. And whereas the 2019 proposed budget as presented by the town board supervisors projects a total expenditure of $1,271,965 with a general property tax levy of $666,951. Now, therefore, the special town meeting of the town of Sevastopol, Door County, Wisconsin, by a majority vote of the eligible electors voting on this 26th day of November 2018, duly and assembled and voting, resolves and orders as follows. Be it resolved that the electors of the town of Sevastopol, Door County, Wisconsin, hereby adopt the town tax levy for 2018 to be collected in 2019 in the amount of $666,951, which is the total tax levy including debt. Adopted this 26th day of November at a special town meeting. And I would have a motion to approve.
I would like to make that motion to approve, Mr. Chairman.
Motion by Laddie, second by,
I'll second it again.
all right, second by Tony. All right. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? 2 opposed, all right? So Amy, you've counted the number of electors.
Are ones that just came in lately, or am I counting
They
them?
didn't vote. I'm sorry, did the people in the back, you did not vote?
Jerry and Jim and, right, we
Okay.
just, we're in the middle of our budget hearing, our annual, or our meeting to adopt the budget. Did you wish to vote on that or not?
No.
No?
No.
Tax too.
Okay.
School tax too.
Okay,
Yes or
so we,
So,
11.
number
So-
voted,
9 and 2.
9 and 2, number abstaining, not voting. 3, I guess, huh? No,
Well,
we don't-
Um,
we shouldn't
2 are
really
not
approve.
residents.
Yes,
No.
so 1.
I would
One.
just leave it at 11, but.
Okay, leave it as it is, approved, recorded. All right, that's it. We're done. Thank you. All right, we will take a half-hour recess as we
motion
have
to
to.
adjourn.
Pardon me?
Need a motion to adjourn.
Yeah, I will do that. I will.
Okay.
Need a motion to adjourn, thank you. Because we have our meeting scheduled for 7 p.m. So,
If there are no other resolutions to be submitted, I would move to adjourn the special town meeting this 26th day of November 2018.
no. I'll second that.
motion by Linda, second by Laddie to adjourn the special town board meeting. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? We are adjourned till 7. Thank you. I'd like to call to order the Board of Supervisors meeting for November 26, 2018 at 7:01. And we will start off by establishing a quorum. Would you do the roll call, Amy?
Supervisor Tony Hayden,
Here.
Chairman Dan Wolfle,
Here.
Supervisor Linda Waite,
Here.
Supervisor John Stavenus.
Here.
Supervisor Jim Nellen.
Excused, stuck in an airport somewhere. Okay. For the benefit of the 3 people that joined us that are unaware of all of us, we'll do a repeat of the meet and greet. It's very popular.
Amy Fluck, Clerk Treasurer, County Road P.
Tony Haynes, Supervisor, Matthew Road.
Dan Wolfle, Town Chairman, Bark Road.
Linda Waite, Supervisor, 5075 Bluff Court.
John Stavenus, Supervisor, Whitefish Bay Road. Steve Tippler, Bellamy Road.
John O'Neill, Whitefish Bay Road.
Mary Ellen Haynes, Matthew Road.
Gerald Nelson, County P.
Dean Schumacher, Country View Road, North Country View Road.
Jim Frederick, Rockwood Road.
Merlene Fralick, Rockwood Road. Arlene Wolfle, Park Road.
And last but not least, Laddie Chapman, Glen Drive.
All right, by now everybody knows this twice. Thank you. Okay, public participation, non-agenda items. Anyone have anything that they'd like to discuss before we get into the meeting?
Last month, I brought up in the public participation about the no parking signs that were removed from Heatherly Road that you said you took down. Seeing that the board voted on that, for that ordinance to place those signs, I'm assuming, was that a board decision to remove those?
I don't even know if it was the board
Okay.
vote to place them.
According to your no parking ordinance in the township that was signed back in 2016, no vehicle is to be parked on the paved road, obstruction passability. You guys really might want to look into either rewriting this ordinance and think about the wording, because if you want the pictures of the license plates of all the trucks and the trailers that were parked on that road, violating this ordinance, I'll gladly turn them over to you. And in this ordinance, $50 to $100 fine per vehicle. So you have a violation of, let's see, refresh my memory, I think there was 8 trucks parked there with trailers.
I'll take it under consideration, thank you.
Figured you would.
Anyone else? Okay. All right, with that, let's start with the agenda. Amy, I assume it was properly noticed?
The agenda was properly noticed.
All right, then we would need a motion to adopt.
I move to adopt the agenda.
Motion by Tony, second by
I'll second that motion.
Linda, to approve the agenda. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? No. Motion carried. Okay, minutes from the Board of Supervisors meeting from October 15th. You've all had a chance to take a look at them. I need a motion to approve, please.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
Motion by John, second by Tony, to approve the minutes of the Board of Supervisors meeting from October 15th. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Okay, we have no carryover pending business, so we'll go right to new business. And the first item on the agenda is the conditional use permit for Northeastern Wisconsin Antique Power Association. John?
Yes, of course, we had a meeting. The Northeast Antique Power Association is requesting a conditional use permit. They had a building go down in a big snowfall, and they would like to have one variance to three different areas on the property to take care of future building and a new storage building of 50 by 120. And Jerry Nelson, if you have any questions for him, he has all the answers. Right?
Did you want to speak on your behalf at all?
Yeah, on behalf of the club, like you said, our building went down in last April here in a heavy snowstorm, and we need space for storing. And we have a lot of people that want to donate equipment to the organization to display it, but they want it under storage. And so we have to have some more building areas out there in order to put up this 50 by 120 foot storage shed that are in the plans. And then And there's other areas that are considered for future buildings too, where he's talking about maybe a gas station and a cheese factory and so forth like that. So that's basically why we need this extra area for building.
Okay. Any questions from the board? Tony?
I think we all know that the Threshery grounds on Country View is a real asset to our town, managed by the Northeastern Wisconsin Antique Power Association. And anything that we can do to enhance that and promote our agricultural heritage, I think is really important to our town and our community. And the buildings that are proposed would be in keeping with what's there already. And like Jerry said, a lot of people that make the donations of equipment, machinery, whatever, they do ask that it be stored inside. So I think storage is an important factor here.
Well, I would agree with you, Linda. I've been there numerous times and taken people there, and I think it's a great little event and a great organization. So, did you reach a conclusion, John, as part of
Yes,
your committee?
I just wanted to say that there are, like I said, three separate places on the property, and there's a couple other ones, and that they would be able to build future things there too with this one variance. So
Also, it would cover
it
that.
would cover everything, most everything in the future too.
Oh, great.
So it was a unanimous vote for the Plan Commission, so.
So would you be
I
making a
would,
motion?
yes, I will make a motion to recommend to the RPC for approval.
I'll second that.
All right, motion by John, second by Tony for the approval of the conditional use permit to the Northeastern Wisconsin Antique Power Association. Any further comments? If not, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, none. Motion carried. Thank you for coming, and good luck. Hopefully, they'll do the right thing for you.
Do you know when the RPC is meeting?
Amy?
Don't know.
No?
Offhand, I don't know.
I'm not sure when the RPC is meeting right now, but I'm sure they'll give you a notice. So,
I can take it.
Okay.
Send that in writing?
You will
Usually-
receive notice in
Yes.
writing.
Thank you.
all right, thank you.
Thanks much.
So are we just going to use the same reasoning and all that from the Plan Commission minutes?
That's what I would
Okay.
suggest. I mean, I don't think there's
And then
anything
I'll
that
send that.
should present an obstacle to that group anyhow.
No.
So,
Good luck.
all righty. Next item on the agenda is the transfer of the agent for the Hitching Post Bar and Grill to Andrew Rip. And Amy, why don't you tell us a little bit about that?
Sure. Andrew and Carolyn Rip purchased the Hitching Post Bar and Grill in mid-August, but they did not meet the requirement for a residency for them to be an agent of their liquor license. So they had Veronica Rip on as an agent, and they have now fulfilled the residency requirement, so they want it transferred to Andrew, and it takes, there's a small fee, and the paperwork is all filled out for him, so,
And it needs board approval.
and it does need board approval, yes.
Okay. Anybody have any questions before we vote to do that?
No, if I remember right, they said that when they got their first one anyhow, so.
Okay, good enough. Motion to approve the transfer?
I'll make a
But-
motion to approve the transfer from Veronica to Andy.
All right. Motion by John, second by
I'll second that.
Tony. All right. Motion by John, second by Tony to approve the transfer of the Hitching Post agency from Veronica to Andrew Rip. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None. Motion carried. Thank you. You'll let them know, Amy. Okay. Notice of spring election. This has been published, I think, already in the paper, right? Or
Yep.
will be?
It has
was
already.
in there already.
Has been, okay, which is coming up April 2nd. 3 people on this board are up for election: Tony Hain, Linda Waite, and myself, Dan Wolfle. And first day to circulate nomination papers is December 1st, final day. is Wednesday, January 2nd. And should there be a primary, it would be held on Tuesday, February 19th. And Amy would look forward to a primary if possible, am I correct? Not necessarily. Last day for an incumbent office holder not intending to seek reelection to declare non-candidacy is Friday, December 21st. Nomination papers can be obtained by contacting the town clerk here at the office. Okay? Next one is we have renewed the animal control contract with Mark Richards, our quote dog catcher, for lack of a better word. He has agreed to the same terms and conditions as we have had in the past. And we have extended an offer to renew that for another year. That's FYI.
I have one question on that.
Yes.
Who calls him?
Who?
Who calls him?
Could be the sheriff, could be Amy, could be you,
Okay.
could be anybody that finds a delinquent, not delinquent, you know, an animal thereabouts.
I've had some complaints about him actually going out and looking for dogs or something, but,
Well, his name and phone number is included in our insert that goes with the tax bill, so
Correct.
anyone is free to call him.
okay.
I have not heard that, but I've also heard people that have contacted him and he's taking care of things, so 6 of one, half dozen the other. Meeting schedule. This is a temporary document, so we need to take this home, take a peek at it, and next month we'll bring it back and see if we can finalize the dates for anybody that might have some potential conflicts.
We do have dates for open book and board of review, correct?
We do, and they're
Okay.
cleared with Ryan,
And they're in the newsletter, or
They're
in
in
the
the
insert
newsletter.
as well.
cleared with Randy as well.
The open book is actually Friday, May 31st
Mhm.
at 10 a.m. And the board of review is Monday, June 24th at 1 p.m., correct?
Yes.
Okay, and that'll be in, those dates are in the insert that goes with your tax bill that you will be receiving shortly, with all the other information relative to the town, should you desire to take a peek at it. Okay, so I'll bring this back next month, take a look at your calendars, and then if you have to make any changes or adjustments, we will do that. Okay. Next is the resolution number 7, 2018 TB from the town board, establishing a tax rate for 2018 to be collected in 2019. This is the next step after our budget hearing and our special town meeting. And I will read the resolution and then we can vote on it. Whereas a tax levy of $666,951 was adopted at a special town meeting held on November 26th in accordance with Section 60-1-A of the Wisconsin statutes, and whereas the levy supports the 2019 budget as previously submitted and/or amended at such hearing pursuant to Section 59.90 of the Wisconsin statutes, with total expenditures of $1,271,965. And whereas in accordance with Section 60.40-4 of the Wisconsin statutes, the town board adopted the 2019 town budget on November 26, 2018. Now therefore be it resolved that the tax, in parentheses, mill rate, in support of such a levy and budget to be established at 0.93313 for the year 2018 to be collected in 2019, based on the final statement of assessment for 2018 with an aggregate assessed value of $714,606,100 submitted by Dan Wolfel, Chairman. And this is the reason that Jim returned from distance far, far away to vote. Would you like to read this for a moment, and then I'll allow you to make a motion if you'd like? Or you may choose not to.
I have a question for you. That .9333, is that what pops up in the mill rate worksheet, Amy?
Yes, I
Or is
have it.
Slightly
It
different?
is, yeah,
It is, okay.
Yeah.
Well, I move the adoption of this, the motion, resolution number 07-2018 TB, to establish the mill rate as noted in the
All right.
motion.
Well, thank you. We have a motion by Jim and a second by,
I'll second that motion.
they're hard to come by tonight. Motion by Jim, second by Linda to approve resolution number 07-2018, establishing a tax rate for 2018. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None. Motion carried. Thank you. All right. Came just in time, Jim. All right. So in your packet, you have the financial reports for October 2018. You have the budget versus actual, January through October. You also have the transaction list by date, October, listing all of the items. And Amy, do you have any comments on any of this?
Yeah. We did receive our last part of the shared revenue for 2018, along with our charter franchise fees. The local government investment pool is now paying 2.20%, and we're still waiting to be invoiced on the road work that was done on Nelson Lane.
Okay, great. Any questions with respect to the financial reports or transaction? If not, a motion to approve would be in order.
I'll move to approve the vouchers, bills, and claims.
You're ahead of,
Oh, I'm sorry, the financial reports for October 2018 as presented by our clerk treasurer.
motion by Linda,
I'll second that.
second by John to approve the financial reports for October 2018. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Linda, you're going to be up next. Approval of the vouchers, bills, and claims, October 16th through November 26th, 2018. I know everybody had a chance to look at them. Jim, you're okay?
Yes.
Okay. Any questions on that? If not, I know that Linda is chomping at the bit to
Oh, I
have a
am?
motion.
Oh, okay. I will move to approve the vouchers, bills, and claims for the period October 16 through November 26th, 2018.
I'll second that.
All right, thanks, Tony. Motion by Linda, second by Tony to approve vouchers, bills, and claims, October 16th through November 26th, 2018. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried, thank you. Okay, oral committee reports, commission reports, minutes, et cetera. Sorry, I gotta flip over here. In the packet, you have the Town of Sevastopol Plan Commission meeting minutes from November 14th. And you also have the Plan Commission meetings from May 6th, so there's a gap in between the two things. And those are the only existing minutes that we have. And then if there's anyone that would like to take a minute and has an oral committee report, please feel free. Hearing none, this could be the,
I've got a little bit of,
oh,
the park is pretty well shut down, or basically shut down for the year. Meisner's came and blew out all the water lines, drained everything out. The bases have been covered with heavy black plastic garbage bags. In the spring, we're gonna take them all out, reset them. We might need some new bases, the base metal itself, and some new actual upper, the top bases. We're waiting for Krieger to come and pick up the two big lawnmowers in the fall. He usually does a little tune-up, check bearings and everything. We've been doing this for years. It's like the Skag runs us a couple $100 a year maybe for maintenance. The thing is, that's about a $17,000 machine. So I figure that's a cheap insurance. Because, it's like we do sometimes at home. You might look at your lawnmower and say, geez, this bearing is a little worn, we can get by. Well, I trust Paul, he looks at it. If the bearing is worn, he puts a new one in. Because in the spring, when we need that machine, we need it. So park is shut down. My son Mark went down to the dam about a week ago, pulled 2 more boards. We can't pull any more boards because the grates will, the grates won't hold. And she was backed up. The grates were plugged with ice. He had a heck of a time getting them out. That's when we got that. And when he pulled the boards, waited a little bit, put the grates back in. By the time he got down to the road, the water was up to the road. And the creek was almost empty before he did it. So she's draining.
Draining.
She's down around 8.4, 8.5, and it's supposed to be right there for the winter. So we're doing great.
Good. I picked up, was over at the town park building, and none of the equipment was on chargers. So I put everything on charger, picked up a couple extras, so, and then I had Gilbert go over there and make sure everything's on. So if Krieger pulls everything out of there, but make sure that when it comes back, it goes back on.
All
on
right.
the
See, I didn't
charger.
have him do that because Paul was gonna, we thought he'd get at him earlier. When we had that little bit of snow,
Well, that truck battery, as you know.
yeah,
So
everybody
anyway.
went nuts about snow blowers, so he's still gonna get at him yet this fall, but yeah,
Okay.
okay.
Any other comments relative to commission minutes? Anything else?
Well, Can I say something on the coastal byway? Okay, the Door County Coastal Byway, our last meeting. That plan, I think I've mentioned this once before, our coastal byway corridor management plan is going to be up for renewal come 2020. So I'm guessing that Ann Miller, chair of that council, will be visiting each of the 8 municipalities involved in that, looking for updates. Okay, have things happened in your municipality that we might want to add to that plan, as an enhancement or an inducement, for more visitors. So I'll just give you a heads up on that.
Okay. She just won't be asking for money.
Not at this point, no. It will probably be in January or February that she'll be visiting.
Well, it's a good time. All right, good enough. All right, hearing no other comments, we'll just put those meeting minutes on file as need be. And that brings us up to license and permits. And you have, again, in your packet, the Safe Built listing of new construction permits, a few new homes in there, a few attached and detached garages, et cetera, the usual. Nothing of any great significance. All right, and then we have the county board report with Ms. Waite.
Okay, on November 13th, the Door County Board of Supervisors adopted the 2019 county budget and tax levy. So total expenses, $76,844,000. Revenues of $47 million. And that resulted in a county tax levy of $29,770,000. I'm just rounding these off. So the tax rate will be $4.18 per thousand per mil, and that is up a mere 6 cents from last year. So pretty conservative on the counties. And the next meeting of the Door County Board of Supervisors is Tuesday, December 18th at 10 a.m. So we're meeting an hour later than usual. That's to accommodate our supervisor coming off of Washington Island. We also approved, the Door County Highway Department will be purchasing a new hot mix asphalt paver type piece of equipment to the tune of $300 and some thousand, but much needed. And they're also purchasing some new snow control equipment. So we'll be prepared for the winter. Really, that's about it. Oh, conditional use permits. So we just had one here. And then I did attend Northeast Asphalt's hearing before the RPC, and they did approve that with the conditions that we had talked about at our plan commission and the board was aware of. But the new thing is now, when a property is granted a conditional use permit, that conditional use permit by an affidavit is going to be recorded as to those parcels. Because any
You mean grandfathered?
Well, sort of. So any subsequent owner of that property is generally allowed to continue that use, generally. So this is just kind of putting any, like it says, subsequent owners on notice that, hey, this piece of property may be subject to certain conditions and standards. And like I said, it's just an FYI out there to any purchaser that there was a conditional use permit on this property at one time, and it could or
Otherwise
could
it-
not continue.
Otherwise zoning would have to be the person that would have to, oh, okay. Well, I
So they
suppose
would
that's-
still have to come back when they, like, they're only gonna have that hot mix plant there for like 3 months, 4 months, and then take
Right.
it away, and then if they come back 2 years down the road, they would have another.
Right, so
Okay.
the conditional use permit is in effect. They actually did give them an extra month. So from March 1st through October 31st of next year, which I just looked at these dates, and it says 2018, and it's supposed to be 2019. So I guess every time a conditional use permit would be granted, they would refile an affidavit to that effect.
Hmm.
So,
All right. Well, thank you, Linda.
you're welcome.
All right, correspondence. You have the August 2018 and September 2018 entries for room tax, so you can track down all of those people that are renting in your neighborhood and who are permitted. You have, Amy, this grant recipient, what was that?
It's for the comprehensive plan reimbursement.
Oh, that's, okay. I didn't quite understand the history and I forgot the contact. Oh, okay, I see, it's under the coastal management. All right, thank you. The report from City of Sturgeon Bay's Fire Department is in there, which is interesting. You also have a copy of the Highway Department's listing of who to call for snow issues during the winter, and it's broken down by week, so feel free, if you have an issue with someplace, pick up the phone and call those people. You're welcome to call me or Amy, but you can also call them directly and say, hey, had an issue here, and please, do something to take care of it. Also in your packet is a couple issues with respect to yard maintenance on Brower Road. No, sorry, Cherry Road. Make you aware of that. Let's see, the town of Sevastopol, well, this was the results of Northeast Asphalt that Linda just talked about. There's also a comparison of the Door County Sheriff Department incident totals from May through August, which I thought was interesting. It's the total number of incidents where the Sheriff's Department was involved in our town, 327 incidents. We're not the largest town, but I shouldn't say we are the largest town, but we had a lot of incidents as compared to some of our peers. Surprising number. Egg Harbor, 275, Liberty Grove, 288, Town of Washington, only 4. So they can't get sheriff squads across that ferry fast enough.
They
Anyway.
have their own.
You also have a copy of our final estimate of population for January, which is 2,723. Do you happen to know the number of last 25-something? It seemed like,
I want to say it was 2,685 or something.
Something like that.
I was going to look it up and I forgot.
So that's quite an increase.
Yeah, I thought it was, and for some reason I thought the number was even lower than that, but I thought it was a pretty big increase. So 2,288 people are estimated to be of voting age. So, and the last item in there is this notice of the first official annual Christmas party, Friday, November 30th, 5 to 7 p.m. That would be this week, Friday. We will have tree lighting, food, drinks, and treats, ornament and cookie decorating, games and singing, could be bad singing, could be good. Christmas garb is encouraged. All Sevastopol residents and people of all ages, kids and adults, are invited. Free mix, mingle, and jingle in community fellowship, and that will be here at the town hall this Friday. And if you pan around, Laddie will show you the tree, although it is not decorated yet. I think that
It
will
will
happen.
be decorated.
I think that will happen
It gets
by Friday.
decorated tomorrow.
Okay. So, good enough. Thank you, Laddie. And the last thing on our agenda is the Board of Supervisors meeting will be for December 17th at 7 PM. And I do intend to invite John Kaloji, if he can still make it, to come that night and to spend a few minutes talking about roads and ideas and suggestions and things that we can do to continue to try and stretch our road budget. So I hope to, I had a tentative date with him, so I hope to have set that up. You'll see that on the agenda. Anything else for next month that anybody wants? If not, let Amy know and we'll go from there. And we are close to a record here. A motion to adjourn, John's favorite thing.
Make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Motion by John, second by?
I'll second.
Second by Tony. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. We are adjourned.